Hello, I'm Stephen Palin with York Tech. I work in the Counseling and Support Services. And what we want to talk to you today, whether you're coming to York Tech here or even out to another college or university, kind of like the process that you would go through in accessing services, especially as it relates with if you have an IEP or a 504. So I'm going to kind of take you through the step-by-step with how things are here at York Tech, which York Tech's similar to a lot of other schools. First, you got to find out where you got to go. And here at York Tech, it's our counseling and support services. So when you want to set up accommodations on the college level, things don't just transfer over. Your school may have sent over all the information, but without you coming to us and self-identifying to us and going to the right place to get you connected with, we don't know that you're out there. And so for here, you want to come into our J building is our student services building. And I'm just taking a walk. You see the Learning Commons there behind us, just kind of taking a walk around campus and kind of showing you where you need to go. So here we are at the J building. You can see it there behind me. So this is where admissions is located, and also financial aid office, and the big one's counseling and support services. So we're in the middle of COVID right now, so I'm going to take a break and go into the building, show you our counseling and support services, where the desk that you would go to in order to access services. And but I got a mask up. So here we are headed into J building. So counseling and support services, not only do they work with students with disabilities with their making sure that they have access, but they also provide licensed counselors that you can come and see. Also work with students that are on academic probation. So I'm going to kind of keep it down as we're going through here, because there's other things that are going on. But you can see right there in front of us is a counseling and support services desk. And so this is the main front desk where you can come and get some support there. So this is what you came to pick up, which is basically a bunch of information about our office. See, it goes through a lot, but it also has, this is going to be your written request for accommodations. And you can see here that it's going to direct you through exactly what you have to do in order to set up accommodations at York Tech. You have to put in your written request. There's also a consent form that you're going to have to sign that just gives us permission to work with you. And then you're going to have to gather some documentation together. And that's what all these instructions tell you about, because we need your IEP, your psychoeducational evaluation that your IEP was based on, or if you have a 504. We need, the 504 will be good, but the medical documentation as well that you provided to get that 504 set up. So you get all that together on your own, and then you set up the intake appointment. Now here we are back at the Counseling and Support Services desk. This is where we do most of our appointments, but of course, because of COVID, we're doing them online and over the phone. You're gonna come here, check in, and then you get to come back and see what our offices look like. These are testing rooms that we use that aren't occupied right now. And then we go down. These are all counseling and support services offices. So we're our counseling and that. This is where the magic happens. So as we come down to my office, we're gonna have a nice long talk. You're gonna have a seat there, and I'm gonna have a seat here. And we're going to have a nice long talk about you so that we can get to know you. So as part of that conversation, we're going to, I just want to start to get to know you. What brought you to York Tech? What program you're going after? What's going to be the your path, and where do you want that to take you? What got you interested in it? But then we're going to talk about some really important things as it relates with your IEP or your 504. First off, just tell me about your experience. What's it been like for you to have this, diagnosis or this disability that's been getting in the way for you in the learning environment? And so, tell me more about what your experience has been with that, and what barriers have cropped up because of that. So whether it be with testing or in the classroom, I just need to know more. Nobody can tell me better than you what challenges you've experienced in that learning environment. So, and then we're going to go talk through some planning and some problem solving, and really try and figure out what has been the most helpful things in the past that has helped you to overcome some of those barriers, or in the college environment, what else we might be able to do in order to overcome some of those. We've had to have a number of conversations, especially with COVID and everything going remote, and developing really kind of thinking outside of the box in order to address challenges that students have been having because of a disability. So once we get to the end of that conversation, we're going to kind of talk through what our processes are. What accommodations you're actually approved for. Just because you had it in high school doesn't mean that it's automatically going to transfer over into college. It might not fit in our environment so well because we have to provide access. And so, we might change up some things in order to match making sure that you have access. So, and this is really an interactive process because you may encounter challenges in a future class that you never even saw. I mean, shoot, you get an anatomy and physiology and you're having to do things, with models and with dissecting animals, and, you might encounter a challenge that you hadn't experienced before. So we might have to do something different in order to make sure that we provide you access. So we have ongoing meetings, but we're going to plan through what do you do next? Because there's a couple things like here at York Tech, once you're approved for accommodations, that doesn't mean that they're automatically just going to happen. It's a little bit different than high school. High school, they kind of already set it up. At the beginning of each semester, you have got to request that we notify your instructors. We need your permission in order to send those notifications. Now, remember, we don't ever share with your instructors why you get the accommodations or what it is that has caused us to award the accommodations and to need to provide you access. So that all stays confidential between you and me. What the instructors need to know is what accommodations you're approved for, especially like with everything now being online and online testing. Say you get extended time on tests. Well, they need to know to adjust that in the system, so that way that your accommodation is getting up implemented the way that it needed to be. So there's some processes that every school goes through. Maybe you have testing accommodations and there's certain things that you have to do in order to follow up, and that's kind of on you. It's not just going to automatically happen, but it's your responsibility in order to take and make sure that it's all happening the way that it's supposed to. If you run into issues or you run into problems, you also need to know to come back to us. If you have a resistant faculty member who isn't following the accommodations that we had discussed, you come and talk to us. You're not out there to hang on your own with this. We want to be able to be there to support you, and we're the ones that need to be able to work that out with your faculty. So you come back to us and we engage in that interactive process, and things might change over time and we might need to change things up. So it makes it really easy when it's just you and me working together than having getting a whole IEP team or a 504, team together in order to work through that. It's just me and you. And so, and we have really easy ways in order to access us. So as I'm leaving the J building here for student services after my intake appointment, I'm ready to go conquer college, to be able to experience things the way that hopefully as we get back into an in-person setting, that that just the excitement and everything with college, but also knowing that you have that point place to come back to. You might not know all of what's available here at the university that you're at, or at the college that you're at, but having that contact person in order to be able to go back to. A lot of times, like with us, it's the counseling and support services that students come back to in order to say, hey, I need some help with this. We might not be the ones to help you, but we sure do know the resources that are available here on campus in order to be able to support you. So welcome to college. Hope that this has been a good explanation of what it's like to access services, to make sure that that you have access here, that any needs that are hanging out there, and any barriers or challenges that we can take and address from our office, that we're doing that. So welcome to college, and have a great first year.